Hello, welcome to Story on the Spot. I am here with Mr. R.A. McGee, Doug Pratt, and the disappearing Nick Thacker was here. He's having some internet issues he's got to figure out. Unfortunately, Kevin Tomlinson was not able to be with us today because he got picked up by La Migra last night, so he is currently on a bus to Tijuana, and we hope that he'll be able to come back soon. Hey, Nick, and we will be right back after our introduction. This is Story on the Spot. We want to say hey to Doug. Hey, Doug. Welcome back.
Hey to Doug.
Hey to Doug. Doug looks a little frozen. Either that or he's being super scary. I don't know. Oops, I have to reshare my screen because I had to. We're all having some internet issues. So welcome to Story on the Spot, episode number 27. Let me.
What's going on?
Whoa. Doug's like 30 seconds behind everybody. Doug, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you, yes.
All right, great. So this is Story on the Spot. You can vote by comment after each round and visit storyonthespot.live to see more about the show, to find all the past episodes, and also to find the individual websites of all these Sots who are with us on the show. Because pretty much everybody here offers a free book for listener or for readers, right?
Absolutely. Yes,
yes.
Nick has 3.
I got 3 as well, so
better than these guys.
And I also have 3. So
I'm equal to Douglas, apparently.
I only have 1.
If only.
I'm always the loser.
So last week's winner was Dave and Doug. They tied.
Woo-hoo!
I added up all the votes, and we had quite a lot of votes last week. And Dave and Doug,
not even
you
me.
did it. So Doug, you can claim half a victory.
Woohoo! I'll take it.
Nice. And so for the viewers, here's what you're going to do. Watch each pitch. We're going to do 3 or 4 rounds, depending on how much time it takes. And then each person will get a chance to pitch a story in each round. Then you will vote by comment which one was your favorite. And then next week, tune in and see who won. And one other, just cleaning up some housekeeping here. We are going to try to keep to Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time as our standard meeting time. So unless there's something that comes up, like we need to change the time for some reason, we should always be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 7 p.m. London, 11 a.m. LA time.
What about Australia?
Australia doesn't count. They're like the next day. There.
That's right. They're underneath us. So.
Ooh, ouch. Lisa said that she liked R.A.'s book, and Nick said it was an okay book.
Let's be honest. Nick has never read any of my books, so he wouldn't know.
Careful what you wish for there, bub.
He wouldn't know.
Okay, so today's bonus word is intermittent, which means occasional. So if you can work intermittent into one of your stories, everybody knows this one. Before. Feel familiar. If you can work in one of your stories, you get this plus a bonus point. All right, I believe we're ready to get started. Okay, here is round number 1. This is a story prompt called With All the Fiexins. A 17-year-old was taken into custody and to the hospital after he caused a disturbance at a Petro deli north of Topeka, Kansas. The teen, who was naked except for the ranch dressing smeared all over his body, damaged merchandise in the store, then ran out and jumped in a running car, which he crashed into a pillar. Investigators said he was, quote, under the influence of a substance. He was released to the custody of his parents. Now, who here among you wants to be the first to jump in and pitch us a story based on this teenager who was all ranched up and decided to cause some havoc in a deli? Everybody's giving that face. But he's given that I don't want to touch it face.
I'm gonna let you pick somebody.
I'm gonna have to pick somebody, huh?
Yeah, you got to arbit this one.
Doug, you want to go? Uh-oh. Doug, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go.
Doug, you there?
Guess we should just skip this one.
All right. Doug took the route of
listen, I'll go. I went first last week. I'll go first this week too, man.
All right,
I'm always ready. So this is what I think is happening. Okay. I think that you're dealing with a young man who grew up as a very strict vegan. Okay. So he lives in a small part of Kansas where, you know, his whole little town, it's like a weird X-Files kind of thing. Like none of them eat, you know, any meat or cheese or dairy or anything like that. Well, he got a chance to go on like a school trip, you know what I mean? And so for the first time, he was exposed to things he was never exposed to before. So he went by a pizza restaurant and he went in with everyone. And, you know, he's 17. He's feeling his Wheaties. To thumb his nose at his parents a little bit, he decides he's going to eat the pizza. Well, what he didn't know is that he's deathly allergic to pizza, right? It's like celiac disease times 1,000. So when they say he's under the influence of something, he's actually under the influence of gluten. All right. And so the gluten is just tearing through his mind and it's making him act crazy. It's making him overheat. That's why he's got the ranch dressing all over his body. He's trying to cool himself down and he's pouring those packets of ranch on him and it's just not working. And so he's just out, you know, running, trying to burn off the gluten high. And it's an unfortunate thing for this young man. So I think that's what's going on in Kansas.
Under the Influence of Gluten is our first contender for episode title.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Doug has once again disappeared.
All right. I got this. This is what's going on here. It's been 2 weeks, so I've been kind of preparing my random stories so I can come back with a bang. What we've got here is a new camera system. There we go. How's that? Right into the camera. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what's
We've got a classic story, folks, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching worldwide. We've got a classic case here of mind control. We've got a town where essentially some genius company, some billionaire started a company, and he's. Let me back up. The billionaire has moved to this place to launch his company because he has some very intriguing demographic information. Now, this is going to be hashtag topical, so just get that button ready, Jimbo. So he has discovered that the Republicans in this town, for the most part, all seem to really love eating ranch, and the liberal crowd, the more left-leaning people, typically don't like ranch. And so he's discovered this, and instead of telling people this and trying to study it a little bit, he comes up with an idea. He's always wanted to test this chemical that he's created in a lab on the human population that allows people to be controlled by him from a computer system. So he puts this chemical in the ranch dressing and starts distributing it. And it's a small town, so he kind of starts locally. It's a local ranch dressing that, of course, all the Republicans love. And this 17-year-old kid who is working at the plant and is very right wing, starts to kind of figure it out. He starts to kind of realize what's going on, and so he tries to go in and be the hero and save the day. So he goes and he runs in and he's trying to make a scene so that the police will be there, so he can kind of get some publicity for the truth that he's about to drop on everybody in this town. And the security at the place, they is Sparta him into a big vat of ranch dressing in order to take him down. That's what the security guards have been trained to do. And so he climbs out, full of ranch, and the security guard, they're like, "Hey, what do you want us to take him out?" And the owner's like, "No, just don't worry about it. I got this." And so he lets the little ranch covered 17-year-old run into a deli nearby, and the whole time he's controlling him from his computer system that he's built. And when it's time, he wraps his car around a pillar, and eventually he's going to cause this kid to essentially kill himself because he's controlling the kid. And so, that's just classic mind control story. So.
Jack Curl says, "Under the influence of ranch." And Desiree says that gluten is a killer. Hey, Doug, can you hear and see us? Is everything all right over there?
I can hear you and see you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Did you just decide to like plug in the fast internet now, or what?
I don't know. I think everybody's in reloading for some reason, watching CNN. I don't know. Internet's just kind of crazy. So,
I think most people are probably watching this. I think CNN would be
I mean, of course,
topping the list right now.
I mean, this is the most important election going on this week. So, but
your vote matters.
That's right.
On Sots, your vote counts. There's no voter fraud here. Doug, do you?
Yeah.
We're losing Doug again.
He really doesn't want to do this story, does he?
You got.
Oh my goodness!
My idea was so good. It's a bummer I'm not gonna be able to share it.
It's all fake. It's all fake.
Doug, do you want to
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want to pitch a story on the the ranch kid? Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is in Topeka, and I don't know what you know about Topeka, but it is a hotbed for some drug activity. And they've been selling it and smuggling it in containers of ranch because nobody's testing it, and these kids were putting it on everything. I mean, why else would you put ranch on pizza? It doesn't make any sense unless it's got crack.
It's got crack in it.
Which is like powder, you just mix it in. We'll never know.
It's a dry mix, and so
it's gonna take forever.
Story's almost better this way, though. Like, it's so
fill in the blanks.
It's like serialized fiction
What's
now.
Next, Doug? What's next?
It's old school Charles Dickens, man. Tune in next week for the next chapter.
Doug, can you hear us?
So
okay, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Sometimes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Obviously, it's on my end.
Excellent. Thanks, Doug. Now we're gonna powdered crack. It turned out, the parts I heard were pretty interesting. Okay. Moving on.
You get the gist, though, right? I mean, we can fill in the blanks.
Okay. Here's round 2 is another character plot twist. So the way this works is this will probably be the last one for a while because I was really struggling to come up with prompts for this one. So everybody's going to pick a character and a plot and a twist, and I will read through them now while you guys are thinking about it. Character can be a hungry hippo, a vivacious pirate, a rodeo clown, a driftwood sculptor, or a forklift operator. The plot is to earn $100, to win a race, to lose weight, to plant a garden, or to raise a virtual pet, like a Tamagotchi or whatever those things were called. Remember those? The twist is that the bad guys win. The setting is on a reality TV set. It takes place in the 2300s. The protagonist has lifelong hiccups, or the setting is in Mardi Gras or during Mardi Gras. And while you guys are thinking about that for a second, some comments here. Marvel Laporte, Fringe Science. Lol. Ron says, whoops, 30 goes on ale. I don't know what that is. RH Braun. Lisa votes round 1 to RA. I think everybody should vote for Doug for round 1 because screw the man.
That's right.
Okay, so who went last time? That would be Doug. So Doug, you can pick your character, your plot, and your twist. Let me know what they are, and then we can go.
Okay, well, I'm going to choose a driftwood sculptor who is looking to earn $100, the twist will be, let's say he has it's in Mardi Gras. I'm going to go with Mardi Gras. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. But we have. Y'all can still hear me, right? I don't want to.
Yeah,
you're good, man.
Okay.
Doug is about to tell us a
Solid.
story about a driftwood sculptor who's trying to earn $100 during Mardi Gras.
Okay,
This could get dirty. It's Mardi Gras.
What do you think he's sculpting? I mean, the name of his company happens to be Got Driftwood, but anyway, this James, who is who's a sculptor by trade and has often lived intermittently along the coast, where he picked up lots of driftwood and started carving and making just different sculptures out of them. And he for Mississippians, it's a long way.
You should sample that noise, Nick. That was awesome for something.
Doug, we're not getting anything, man.
That'd be.
Are you sure Kevin can't make it today?
Okay. Hey, Doug, there you are. You're back.
Yes.
The last thing we got in your story was that's where you left off.
That was the gist of it right there. Actually, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, I heard Nick's crack about Kevin, which was a little hurtful, by the way. But,
Yeah.
That came through just fine, didn't it, Doug? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying. This is me. That's all I'm saying. This is bullying, cyberbullying at that. So, okay, what else you want to do? So, James, the driftwood sculptor, is heading to Mardi Gras, and he needs to make $100. So, he lives about 100 miles in Mississippi, where $100 will take you a long way on a bus. So he decides that he's going to go out and collect this driftwood and start sculpting things. And he likes to go to the seashore, but he'll also intermittently go to the river and pick up some driftwood there. And he likes to carve, fancy things, bookends and some tables and stuff like that. And he sets up a market, and as he's setting it up one day, he meets this lovely girl who happens to be a driftwood enthusiast. She came along and she was just admiring his art, and her name was Sarah. And as luck would have it, the look in their eyes just crossed, and it was like love at first sight. And so when he sold his first piece, he took his $100 and carried Sarah off to Mardi Gras, where she actually left him for a bartender at a club down there, and he ended up alone and sad at the end. So,
jeez, Doug.
That's sad, man. I wish I was there, dude. I'd give you a hug. I think you need a hug right now, bro.
Actually, the first one was a lot happier, but then I lost it when y'all couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
So
I wish that one had stuttered out.
Hey-oh.
Oh no! I am taking my headphones.
All right, I believe RA, you are up. Oh, but he wouldn't know because he took his headphones off. All right, I believe RA, you are up. What are your choices for the character plot twist?
I'm up. Okay, I got this. I'd like to do a forklift operator who needs to lose weight, and the bad guys win. All right. So, because I knew that's what Nick wanted. So I don't even have a story for it, but I just wanted to block it like Hollywood squares. You know what I mean? So, okay. So I think that we are dealing with a story that takes place in the Northeast, and somewhat stereotypically, our forklift operator is named Louis, and Louis works at the docks. He's a union guy working the forklift, and there's a very strong, the stereotypical part is a very strong like mob influence, at the docks. And so one day, Louis not on the take though, he's a straight arrow. He's on the right path. Well, one day he kind of sees into one of the boxes that he's offloading from a ship from overseas, and he sees heroin. Right, he's a big shipment of heroin, and so in ranch bottles, yeah. So on its way to Kansas.
Nice,
Topeka. That's the
shipment, yeah.
So he sees this heroin, and he can't in good conscience just leave it. So he goes and he tells the cops, well, the underboss that runs the docks is a real like sociopathic type of guy. You know, he didn't just get ahead because he's, you know, the boss's son or something. He earned his spot, you know, going up the ranks. He's a you know, just a real deranged type of guy, and he's really into horror movies. So what he decides is that the underboss kidnaps Louis's wife, you know, and Louis you know, I'm not one to talk, but he's a little on the heavy side. You know what I mean? Louis got a little bit of extra padding, you know, a little more, you know, stuffing. And so the underboss says, you know, if you want your wife back, you know, I just got done watching Saw, and I want to see if I can make this work. So I want you to lose 30 pounds in 3 days, or I'm going to kill your wife. And Louis goes, what kind of stuff is that, man? Like, this is not even how this goes. I got to lose weight. You kill her, don't kill her, kill me. Losing weight's impossible. The underboss is real sadist, and he decides this is what I want you to do. So Louis gets on the internet, and he starts looking at all the cleanses and all the fasts. You know, how can I get this weight off of me so fast? He looks at intermittent fasting. You know, he doesn't see anything that's kind of anything that's going to guarantee he'll lose 30 pounds. So Louis, you know, fires up the forklift and sets it on auto, and Louis sticks his leg down, you know, up to the knee underneath the forklift tines. Pop! They crush his leg off, right? He takes the leg, he weighs it. It's about 27 or 28 pounds. It's not enough. It's not enough, man. So Louis decides to take the other leg off. Like, my wife is more important than my ability to walk. So he crushes his other leg off with the forklift. Now he's lost plenty of weight. So in his wheelchair, he wheels over to the underboss, right? Tells him, hey, man, I lost the weight. Give me my wife. Let me get out of here. I lived up to my end of the bargain. The underboss laughs and predictably shoots him in the head, right? Because the bad guys always win in these type of scenarios. And so Louis was just a poor, dumb guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. So
that was intense.
Would have been a good twist if the bad guy was actually the wife and she wanted him to lose weight. And so now she leaves him because he's like a nuggie in a wheelchair and she can't, you know, do the whole.
Yeah, I was looking for the O. Henry twist there at the end.
Nah, I didn't want to go. I just want to play. The bad guy's got to win. So I just wanted the underboss to win.
But I love that RA's story was the Biggest Loser in Saw crossover event.
Mm-hmm. That you never know you wanted, but now you got it.
Now you must have.
That's right.
All right, Nick Thacker, it's down to you.
All right. Let's see. Give me a vivacious pirate.
Okay.
Who has to raise a virtual pet, and the time is the 2300s.
Okay. There's a vivacious pirate who's trying to raise a virtual pet in the 2300s.
Yes.
All right, Nick.
Okay. This is very simple. Classic meta story here. We have a vivacious pirate who has, for some reason, been given this weird little device that he doesn't even know what a device is. He's a pirate, and he's not like, you know, a modern pirate. He's like from the 1700s, you know, swashbuckling pirate kind of guy. And so he doesn't even know what electricity is, but he finds this thing and, you know, he looks at it and it's not that hard to figure out. There's a couple buttons, you know, and so he clicks them and the little thing poops and, you know, another one cleans it up. And he's like, hey, that's kind of cool. So he's trying to raise his little virtual pet while he's, you know, swashbuckling on the high seas. That's a sword. And, you know, he goes and finds buried treasure and all that stuff. And his little pet just keeps dying, but he keeps, you know, starting over. And, you know, he notices that it's always there. It's like, we know as the story people, let's see, the situational irony would be that why isn't the battery dying? Why isn't anything, you know, happening? It's like being reset every day. Right. We get to the end of the book. Plot twist. It's the 2300s. And there's a little girl playing a game called Vivacious Pirate. And her job is to keep this little pirate alive as long as possible. And she can't do it because she doesn't really know anything about pirating in the seven seas. So she keeps killing this guy. And every day he kind of starts over with his little pet. And so the reason he's got the little device is it's actually kind of a breach in the space-time continuum. So he's sort of getting a glimpse of what's actually with the world that he's in. He's not actually controlling this little pet, or there's not really a little Tamagotchi thing. It's just, you know, it's her controlling him.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Now, quick intermission. Anybody have anything to promote? Anybody got any books coming out? Anything on sale this week? Any big deals going on?
Nope.
No, nothing this week.
Wish I did. Dang, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have released a book if you had told me we were going to be.
I'd have put some on sale
some
for
sales.
you. So.
Well, this will be here next week, so you can remember that for next week. All right. So this will probably be our final round. This is another story prompt called Boozy House. Architect. And you guys watching can vote on the last round now. Go ahead and put in those comments for who you thought.
Character name for me.
Architect Nick Duke loves to renovate old houses. See, these are real news stories. I just changed their last names. Architect Nick Duke loves to renovate old houses and was told the century-old home he purchased last year in Ames, New York, had been built by a German baron who turned to bootlegging in the 1920s. He was still surprised to find evidence within the walls one day, dozens of bottles labeled Old Smuggler Gaelic Whiskey. We discovered multiple false walls and secret compartments under the floor in our mudroom, he said. The foundation walls and floors in the mudroom are lined with intact cases of 1920s whiskey. I thought this was pretty cool. There's lots of different ways we could take this. Who would like to be the first to pitch us a story based on Boozy House?
Hey, I just got a question for the Nick. I consider Nick the subject matter expert on booze. So, well, I mean, he wrote a book and everything. He's done the research.
It's fair.
What?
Not only that, but I have a character from the book who wrote a book.
It was perfect. It was very meta. What would this stuff still be good? This whiskey from 100 years ago? What would it taste like now?
The taste won't change. It won't be any good because back then the whiskey, the way they would have made this kind of stuff would have been terrible. Like it would just taste like moonshine is what it is, but it wouldn't have gone bad. Unless something else got into it, which is unlikely. So like wine, the cork can sometimes fail and dry out. That's not going to happen with this stuff because it's not air is only going to improve it for the most part,
I don't know.
It could mold if it did get air in it. So,
but the whiskey itself can't mold.
Well, if something got in it and created it, it could feed off the alcohol. It
would make more alcohol.
It's nasty. Well,
okay, this is super interesting, but let's get back to the game show.
I think that's it. That's it.
That we're doing live on the air right now. Let's focus on that game show that we're doing live.
I feel like someone in the audience wondered if we could just drink this whiskey. I'm a man of the people.
If anybody in the audience was wondering that, please leave us a comment and let us know.
I would have drank it, so
I definitely would try it.
Yeah.
Okay, who would like to be the first to pitch us a story based on Boozy House?
I could come up with something.
All right, Nick.
Okay, so we got a classic case here of a story. Our boy Nick Duke has purchased this mansion, knowing full well that it is it's much bigger than anyone even imagined. He has reason to believe it's it's been he found like basically an old journal, an old diary, because that's how every thriller has to start now, of this guy who built the house and said, hey, there's a whole secret underground infrastructure here that links up with all these old tunnels that go through the whole city. And so, it was this huge distribution network for bootleggers. Now, when he buys the mansion, everyone in the town kind of expects there to be some like secret to the place. And so instead of just pretending like there's not, and then actually starting his bootleg operation up again and using all these tunnels and everything, he comes out and says, hey, this house is really cool. There's like secret doors and secret hallways. And then he even commits to building a museum at a part of the house so that people can come in and see the bootleg industry, the whiskey industry from the 1920s, pre-prohibition, all that stuff, or post-prohibition. And then, no one will actually ask any more questions. But the truth of the matter is it's still an active bootleg operation. It's all just happening under like the next level. That's what you got. What's going on?
All right, thank you, Nick. I'm going to put the story back up here so you other two guys can take a look at it real quick. RA or Doug, who would like to go second?
I'll give it a shot here.
All right, Doug. We'll see how this goes.
Let's see how it goes.
If your fake mold in the whiskey isn't killing people in your story, I'm out.
Oh well. This is a the German baron built this in the 20s, but he lived there for quite a while, and using his bootlegging during the 20s actually turned into a way to sneak in Nazis during the World War II. So he was using this house as a way, as a kind of base for spies to come through come into our borders and start spreading out and dissenting their Nazi trash around the country. Well, Nick Duke here happens to come across these secret tunnels and things, and he finds documentation of who these Nazis are, and this is a cabal that is still going on today with hidden sects of Nazis all around, and so he becomes the target of people trying to hunt him down because these lineage of Nazis living in this country have now become exposed. Most of the whiskey and stuff was actually nothing more than props for weapons and stuff hiding in cases and cases of this Gaelic whiskey. Turned out it was really just weapons that the Nazis were slipping in. So
okay, thanks, Doug. And I believe that's just R.A. left.
Yeah.
Put the story back up here, R.A.
Yeah, I'm left. Okay. So I think that this story Nick is just Nick Duke, not our Nick down there. I don't want you to think I'm talking about you, bad about you. All right. But this all revolves around the Baron, right? Nick is just kind of, he's the researchers on the Titanic in the movie. They don't really have anything to do with the story. The story all takes place in the past. You know what I mean? So the Baron, before he immigrated from Germany, his grandfather shared with him the family secret, and their family secret was whiskey, was German whiskey, which is actually a thing, but it's not too popular, in the States. But the German whiskey was really good, really solid stuff. And so when he immigrated to the States and Prohibition happened, he lost his job. It was the Depression. Well, it wasn't the Depression yet, but the Depression was coming. So he knew that he was going to, not really have a lot of work. It was hard for immigrants to get jobs. So he started brewing batches of his family recipe. And it was a hit, and everyone loved it. Well, he had to take on a partner so he could up his production. And the partner paid in to the business a little bit and, helped buy supplies, the mason jars and the stills and stuff like that. And so, they had a nice production line kind of going. Well, the problem is the batches that they used to brew back then, they sometimes had like turpentine and stuff in them. And, they could make you go blind, but they could also kind of mess with your head a little bit. And as the Baron was working out the best way to kind of stabilize the recipe, he was tasting it, and he slowly started to go a little bit mad, right? He started to get paranoid. Everyone was kind of a threat to him. Everyone was a threat to his family's recipe. And, he was charged with his grandfather with keeping it a secret, keeping it under wraps. So eventually he starts to suspect that his partner is going to steal the recipe from him and kill him. So, after several weeks of paranoia, the Baron kills the partner. All right. He takes all the batches of whiskey that's left and hides it in the walls of his home so no one else can ever get it and try to deconstruct the recipe. And then he boards the walls up, leaves the whiskey in there. And then one day at a saloon, at one of the bars in town, he gets in a speakeasy, I should say, because it's the Prohibition. He gets in a fight with a local and gets killed. And so no one ever knows that the whiskey's in the walls, and the recipe died with the Baron, the Gaelic whiskey. So that's what we're dealing with.
All right. Thanks, R.A. Now, Let me put a banner up here to visit storyonthespot.live. And if you want to find out who won this train wreck of an episode, you can just tune in next week to find out. I'm sure it's going to be a fierce competition. And does anybody have any parting words of wisdom before we get out of here?
Yes.
Are you going to say them, Nick?
No, that was my word.
Oh, that was it. Also, if you're watching and you're wondering if Nick has a giant wart on his face that keeps moving, it's not actually your screen. See, look, if I move Nick up here, it's still there. It's his screen. So it's
my camera, actually.
If you've been wiping that spot on your monitor for the last half hour,
keep wiping, guys. It'll come off.
Keep wiping. So
I was so frustrated. It's the iCamera on the iSight cam on my iMac or whatever it's called, the cinema display. I think it's a little dot of humidity.
Well, so we are going to be back next week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can set your calendars for that. Or also when you're watching live, if you tap the bell, I think Facebook sent me an email and told me to say this. You tap the bell and then where's notifications, you can choose to get notified every time we go live. That's what you want. You want the one that tells you every time we go live. So that's about it for us. You wait to get the results. Hey, yep.
Yeah, it's cute. It'll take just a week.
RH Brown said, just like the election needs a week to get the results. Yeah, quality takes time, RH. That's how it works. So we will be back next week. I really want to thank Doug for popping in last minute when Kevin wasn't able to attend. And we'll see you at storyonthespot.live where you can visit all our individual websites. Bye, everybody.
Later.